you have fought O&M at every turn. In my opinion, you tried to stop the bond, or the grant that we got for the sewer system. I remember being in an executive session where Mr. From Piper Jaffrey, Dillingham, had told us in open session that we needed to sign this letter of intent to make sure that we got the ball rolling, or we were liable to lose the bonding. And we went into executive session, and you told us that you were going to sign it next month. And after, by some cajoling by Sam and I, we got the council to vote to have you go ahead and sign that thing. And it just, the day of the rate hearing that we had to have to be able to get the bonds, that day, you sent out a notice that it was going to be an illegal rate hearing, and we had to jump through hoops and get a hold of the city attorney and all to make sure that it was something we could get implemented. And
I did that, not the mayor, I did that. Because it has to be it was a public hearing.
it had nothing to do with that particular
It
time
has to be
period.
in the paper. I called the attorney on that. Because a public hearing has to be in the paper. You know that, Tony.
Are you speaking to me?
I am. I said you know that.
So I can speak back?
Yes.
It wasn't in the paper.
No, it wasn't
Sure
in
it
the
was.
paper.
The public hearing was in the paper.
Okay.
But there was an attempt to get it
But
stopped.
I called the attorney.
And I guess the question I have is that I find it almost a contempt of the city of Holden and the people here to think that they would believe that that hasn't been your agenda, sir. I mean, everybody knows that's what you've been after.
It really,
Yeah.
I beg to disagree.
Well, Katie, what did he tell you when he appointed you to the Board of Public Works?
Is this a
They told me
kangaroo
that it was a
court?
crook.
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying, you said you
told me
disagree.
he was a criminal.
Nobody said
He
anything
needed to
all
go to
night, and
prison.
then we have
I
to
thought
He
we
was
were-
stealing
Can't
from
we
the
just
city.
have a normal council
I thought we
meeting
weren't going to
without
talk
you all?
about this.
I mean,
Yeah.
do we invite
we weren't.
people to show up for a regular council meeting so that you can get your jollies by crucifying me along with a few other, and that it becomes, no,
Crucified us.
no. Well, I did it because it was your accumulation of obstructionist behavior
That's
by
not right,
a
Rick, and
few
you
council.
know, that is not right.
You don't read the paper well.
Well, you don't read.
You
the
don't
paper
read your
very well.
minutes well.
You don't read the paper very well either. We were elected just like you were. And we were elected probably to put a stop to some things that the people were tired of. And I've been on this council for almost 2 years, and I've taken it in the ear about every time you do anything that goes against what you believe, we take it, we get chastised for it.
If your opinion of serving the city is positive, then you're responsible for that. I am not going to judge any councilman other than their voting record. I do not vote, I do not assess a personal opinion about any councilman, but I do.
You gave an opinion.
Wait a minute, I do point out in that release your voting record. And if you're proud of that, fine. I tend to disagree with some of your votes, but you're absolutely right. You're elected to vote to represent your constituents. And if you're doing that, you're doing your job. I tend to disagree with some of the votes, as I've said, but that's my prerogative, just like you have yours.
I think in polite company, generally people, when they politically disagree, can have conversations without being called obstructionist, without being claiming that
How about
there's a
tyrant?
conspiracy going on.
How about
At the
tyrant?
Board of Public Works meeting the other night, how about calling?
Well, you know, karma's a
Tyrant.
bitch.
You can do it, but
Oh,
nobody else
please.
can.
Well, wait a minute here. Who was it that got accused of attacking you verbally, ma'am.
I don't know, who was it?
Who was it?
Sam and I, you brought it out in council meeting.
I what?
Certainly.
I what? What'd I do?
In council meeting, I think it was back in February, you claimed that Sam and I went to the clerk's office and verbally attacked the women in that clerk's office because we didn't find what we were looking for. Now, you could not have checked that out with anybody. You certainly didn't check it out with me or Sam. Dog weeks. Before that council meeting, we were at a Board of Public Works meeting, and I asked you, Doyle, have you heard the rumor that Sam and I are supposedly attacked those women? And you said, yes, I have, but I've talked to Officer Bond, and he said it did not happen. Is that not correct?
I said I talked to Officer Bond, he went in there and he made, there was no action to be taken.
He said what?
He said there was no action to be taken, so
No action to be taken.
No charges.
I talked to Rick Martin, and I asked Rick if I could have a copy of a priest report. And Rick said, what report are you talking about? And I said, you know, that allegation they're making that we attacked those women. And Rick said nothing happened. There is no police report.
Yeah.
I said, yeah.
So we can come out and without an allegation, without checking with us to see, maybe, you know, we say, well, man, I didn't know it was, or whatever.
Did you go to the chamber meeting last night? Didn't I see you there?
Yeah.
And they talked about that everybody should get along?
Yeah, but you
Then
know.
why
it's
do
got-
you start all
Yeah,
this?
now we have a
And
push starting all over.
Here we go with
Right
that.
off the bat.
We tried to have a meeting with none of this going on, and you start all this. Didn't you
We're gonna
hear
be
what they
honest.
I
said?
started it
Yes,
just now.
tonight.
What was that deal last week?
No,
Last
last week. We're talking about last night. We listened to a chamber president and a Main
And
Street
ask us,
leader that said, let's leave the politics out of
that's
this.
what we're trying to do. And
We, Sharon and I
I'm
talked
willing to
today.
do it from this day forward.
No, listen, Sharon and I talked today and said, we're gonna start anew. If we're guilty, let's all put it behind us, go forward.
Amen.
And what do? We come tonight and we get harassed again with an invited audience. You've got your cohorts here to witness what you're gonna say.
My
And
co-conspirators?
don't tell, well, if that's the word,
Well, that's what you said.
I said, what did I say? I said cohorts.
But in your deal there, you said that it was a conspiracy. We're all part of this
well,
conspiracy.
you're on YouTube, where you called him a tyrant. I mean,
Is that a
let's
conspiracy?
get over it.
Yes, it is,
No, it
because
isn't.
it's
Get
done
over
in an
it.
audience that is friendly to your way of thinking. Yes, ma'am.
I think this calls for a point of order. Aren't we supposed to be discussing committee reports?
Yes, we are.
Can we please stick
And
to
other
the
business.
agenda so there's no other
Other business.
issues coming along as far as sunshine laws that
I would
will cost
honor-
the city more money?
I would honor that suggestion most wholeheartedly. We're here to do the business of the city, to make it a better place to live,
Thank
to
you.
work, and to grow as a community. Not to harass a mayor, downgrade a mayor, or whatever.
But I've never been harassed.
All right, point of order, we'll move forward. You have a committee report.
No.
All right, Sam.
I don't have another.
Okay. Mr. McDaniels.
My turn? All right, I have a couple things. The elections, how many people have signed up to run for council?
7, I believe.
Can we find out who those people are, or?
Yes, I'm glad of it. I don't know if I can remember all
We'll
of
take a
them,
brief
but I
recess
will.
while she gets that official record. Reconvene, please.
Doyle Weeks is Ward 1. Dorothy Wakeman, Ward 3. Sam Raver, Ward 3. Robert Talley, Ward 3. Michael Zumwalt, Ward 4. Karen Christensen, Ward 2.
The other thing I want to know is, are we gonna address the resignation letter that was in our packet?
Yes.
We're gonna solicit, entertain.
That will be mentioned as soon as all the committee reports are done.
And I still would like to have a park board meeting. Kind of gonna put Angie on the spot here since she's on the park board committee with me. And if she can give us a date, I will honor her wishes for that date, because I want you to be there. Bobby's already said whenever I pick a date, he'll be there. So, and when we have that park board meeting, we'll want to print off the ordinances and try to educate the park board as to why they haven't been active, we haven't had an active park board up to this time, because there are financial obligations that have to be met. And so that responsibility falls back on the city clerk. And we'll just see how many people are actually interested in having an active park board.
What did I do then?
Well, I'm just saying,
I don't know.
I'm just saying that we have to pay our bills, the park does. And when the park board doesn't have monthly meetings and we don't have any officers that are active, it's hard for the park board to make a decision when they don't have a meeting. So I'm just saying that,
We pay your.
I know, I'm saying that's good. But I've had some comments about people that like, well, how come the park board's not doing anything? I said, well, we don't have enough members to be active.
We have 10 park board members appointed by the mayor, approved by the council.
Right?
You were elected last April. You are in charge of the park board as far as the council liaison.
Right.
Anytime you want a meeting, you contact the park board president, who is Dwight Anstein. You and he set up a meeting, and we post the meeting on the bulletin board. That's the way it's done.
That's the way it's been done.
That's the way it's been done. Now, if it's supposed to be different, we need to know so we can do our obligations.
And then the doors did get purchased, I saw at the finance committee for the restrooms at the city park. I haven't drove out there to see if they've been installed, but we did get them bought.
They're not going to install them until March.
They're not going to install them until March.
Okay. That's all I have.
Okay. The letter that you received in your packet is from the treasurer, Linda Danforth, who is submitting her resignation effective March 31st. So we will be taking applications once the council approves her resignation. And since that was in your packet, I would ask the council to approve her recommendation or her resignation at this time.
Or request of any kind.
Yes.
So if we vote no, she can't resign?
Good luck. Yeah.
I move that we accept her.
Motion by Councilman Raver to accept the resignation. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Angie. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Motion for adjournment.
I make that motion.
Motion by Councilman Clark.
Second.
Second by Councilman Weeks. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries.